Starting us off at number 10 are couples. No, honestly, no kink shaming here. I know couples are on Tinder to spice up their relationship, or they're in an open relationship, or they're polyamorous, whatever it is, it's none of my business. But it still makes me feel a bit weird that I'd be entering this like trio where two people are already in love and I'm just there as like some new fresh side piece, like, oh hello. And usually most of the couples I've personally seen on Tinder are really bloody weird. Most people avoid them, but some are unavoidable. For example, Reddit user turtle_sensei shared that she was on Tinder when she was 19 years old, and as a bisexual female, she made the app's preference show her both girls and guys. She ended up matching with this woman who offered to fly her out to Arizona to live with her and her boyfriend or husband and be their young lover, which I mean, who doesn't want sugar parents? She obviously declined, but the couple kept creating different accounts just to ask her, and so she ended up deleting the app altogether. And good thing she did too, because a few months later she saw something in the news about a couple from Arizona that had lured a girl about the user's age to their home for what was billed as a sex dungeon. They held her there for 6 months before she was finally able to escape. Dude, like, I'm stunned. Coming in at number 9 are true colors. Honestly, sometimes it takes a few dates or weeks to really see someone's true colors. Like, I believe you don't really know someone unless you've gone to a restaurant with them so you know how they treat the waiter, you've been with them while they're under pressure or stressed, and you've talked about politics with them. Not that that's gonna cause an argument, but you wanna know if they're the kind of person that like shoves their opinion down your throat or can listen to other people's opinions respectfully. You know, that's a big thing. Either way, 26-year-old Nikki shared some of her true color horror stories. For example, on one Tinder date, the guy kept saying a bunch of misogynistic things, thinking she was getting flattered by them. Things like calling women fresh meat and calling her wifey in the kitchen, and about how he would always beat and delete women. If you don't know what beat and delete means, like, first of all, have at least a brain cell. No, I'm kidding. It basically means obviously when you know, sleep with someone and then you delete them and you never call them back. Either way, he then said she was lucky she was on a date with him. I'm not even gonna comment on this one, you guys already know how I feel and how my blood is boiling on the inside. With another Tinder guy, Nikki truly thought it was going somewhere until he revealed his true racist colors on the 4th date. They went for dinner and their waiter happened to be black. The date then started addressing the waiter offensively, kind of implying he was superior than him, and then started talking about everything wrong with black people. Like, who are you? Who? I'm done with it. You guys know me. I'm gonna go off! Sorry. At number 8, we have getting ghosted. Let's face it, you guys, it has happened to the best of us. There's nothing to be ashamed about. You know, you end up matching with someone and you're actually getting along, the banter's there, and of course you guys match, so clearly the attraction is there too. You guys go on 1, maybe 2 dates, and then they ghost you. You are left hanging and you're not really sure what the hell happened, but you're like, okay, I guess I'll just go screw myself then and just eat ice cream and wonder why nobody loves me. I don't do that. Anyway, sometimes you're the ghostie and sometimes you're the ghoster, and not everyone handles it well. Some people get super pissed and persistent, and others don't even realize they're being ghosted. Anyway, this story pertains to that and was shared by Victorious Cabaret on Reddit. She said that she went on a date with this guy and they end up at this restaurant. Turns out the guy, and I quote, had the personality of a styrofoam packing peanut. After the date, she figured she would just ghost him because they'd only gone on 2 dates and never even kissed. So she ignored his calls and texts for a week, but he wasn't gonna take this ghosting lightly. Mans showed up to her house and started hammering her buzzer and continuously calling her. What made it worse was that this guy literally did not even know her last name, didn't know where she lived, let alone her suite number, so how the hell did he even find any of that out? Creep. Filling at number 7 slot are the tweets. And I've heard this urban legend multiple times but in different variations, but it originated from this girl called Jacqueline tweeting about this encounter in a thread. Apparently she shares how her friend went on a Tinder date and caught some sexually transmitted rash from the person. Yikes. Honestly, never do anything with anyone before asking them if they've been tested. Come on now, health and safety first, people. Either way, the friend goes to the doctor and he tells her that she could have only gotten the rash from someone who's had sex with dead people. The parasite that gave her the rash can be present in a guy if he's been doing the dirty with animals or the dead. Fast forward to Jacqueline's friend doing some investigative work and finding out her date works at a morgue. I'm sure you guys can figure out the rest. 1 + 1 literally equals necrophiliac. And if if you guys know Mackenzie from IO, I was actually telling her the story and she said she'd heard that story from a friend of a friend. Apparently she had gone to Mexico and she had kissed someone there and she ended up with a rash the next day, and exact same story. So really, it really is a Tinder urban legend. Where's the truth in it? Did this even really happen to anyone? I don't know. Now, number 6 is that profile. There is always that one profile that no matter how many times you swipe left for no, that continues just to plague your app. Like, mate, I've seen your profile so many times. If I wanted to match with you, I would have swiped right the first time I saw you, not the 35th time. These profiles are common in every city, so let's talk about 27-year-old Alex Hammerly from New York City. Now let's analyze Alex's profile. His kitchen has granite countertops, and in each of his photos, he's doing the exact same pose. All 6 or 7 photos feature him leaning back on the counter with one leg crossed over the other. Nice, respectable man. His face and hair and everything is identical in each picture. It's literally just the outfits that are different. He is Alex. He's 27. He's in his kitchen. He's in a nice shirt. He is seemingly a paper doll. Now, the girl who noticed this decided to post it on Twitter just to see if anyone else happened to see Alex a billion times, and this girl who lives in Boston claims she saw his profile anytime she visited the city. Now, most bot accounts like these are usually super hot girls that are adult webcam services or follower scams, but some are genuinely annoying real people. These people are somehow finessing the system and appearing so often. The New York Post got in touch with Alex, who said he continuously deletes and reinstalls the app so he appears at the top as a new user. And he's not the only one who does it. The repeat bot profile that isn't a bot. Urban legend cracked and confirmed. Coming in at number 5 is the pervert. I could kill the boy involved in this story, but of course I won't, because I can't. But if I did meet him in person, I would for sure punch him in the nuts. Though either way, this story is from Redditor No Sketteepsome9, who was on holiday and decided to jump on Tinder to see who was around. I didn't realize how common meeting people from Tinder on holiday was. Like, I would just want to enjoy my holiday and go sightseeing. I could not care less about going on Tinder dates or getting laid. Anyway, the user matched with this guy and they spoke for a few days, and the day before she left, they decided to meet. They hung out at his place because he told her that he too was traveling the next day, and so he had to be home and pack, but that she could keep him company. Guys, no, never go to a private place for your first date, especially if you haven't met the person and you're in a foreign country. Major no. Listen to mommy, amen. Either way, they start making out and end up having sex, which the girl is hesitant about, but is also like, okay, I'm on holiday, I'm never gonna see him again, it's fine. They're getting it on the couch, and she turns to the side to see that his laptop's green light is on, meaning it's recording. She quickly ends that and the police were this close to being involved. Can you see this? My hands are basically touching. My fingers are touching. They are, this close. Can you bloody imagine, like, who does that? I would have called the police straight up, I don't even care. Scumbag, girl or guy alike, anyone who does this, shame on you. But also, I didn't want to include this camera story in the list because I feel like so many people have heard it, but also, I need to bring attention to where it's due. These things happen. You know what I mean? Trust no one, not even yourself. And number 4 is Dexter. If you haven't seen the show Dexter, it's basically about this dude who is a forensic technician specializing in blood splatter analysis by day, and he's a serial killer by night. And this Tinder horror story gave me major Dexter vibes, but then I did more research on it, and turns out there's not enough evidence surrounding the story. Now initially I took it as fact and that the people involved wanted to remain anonymous, but this story is a bit of a Tinder urban legend that gets shared frequently with a few details changed here and there. So here goes. A 20-year-old girl moved to Boston to start her graduate program, and luckily enough her aunt was going to Europe, so she offered the girl her place to stay in. A few days after she moves in, she starts hearing weird noises, but the house is also quite old, so she kind of just assumes the noises were because of that fact. She asks her dad to make sure, and he reassures her, but also tells her to call the police to come and just to check just to be sure. Always better safe than sorry, 100% you guys, always listen to your dad. Either way, she calls the police and emphasizes that she's most likely being paranoid and that it's nothing. The police then ask if she's home alone, to which she says yes. They then tell her an officer will be there in 40 minutes just to check things out, but everything should be fine. 3 minutes later, the police show up and shocking discoveries are made. Not only was there a man in this girl's basement, he had a complicated tool set of torture and dismemberment devices, and the man was someone the girl had been on a Tinder date with. The date was super average, but after dropping her home, the guy realized she lived alone. Target locked. The police told her they'd be there in 40 minutes because they realized someone was listening in on the call and they wanted to take the person by surprise. I've also heard variations of this story as well. I'm pretty sure this one is true, but I'm like, heebie-jeebies. Filling, and number 3 slot is poop. I really did not think people had this many issues with their bowel movements, especially on Tinder dates, but apparently they do. And like, I know nervous are a thing. I've never had to nervously I think. I was like, I do tend to use the bathroom frequently. I just have a high metabolism, yet I'm still fat, so it doesn't really make sense. Now, I've heard so many poop stories, it's bloody ridiculous. There's obviously the most popular one where a woman went on a date and the date slipped laxatives into her drink or food. She shit herself, and while cleaning up in the bathroom, her date then rubs all over himself. Have you people no self-control? Like, I know that one was a fetish, but you are foul, mate. Another version was shared by Redditor Josh T-Bone, who said he went on a date with this guy off Tinder and things are going well. He finally leaned in to kiss the user, and a few seconds later he pulled away saying it feels really warm in my underwear for some reason. The user started getting whiffs of what could only be described as a baby's diaper. The date runs to the bathroom and turns out he had himself mid-kiss and goes commando for the rest of the night. Like, I'm curious, if that happened to your date, would you just end it there and never see them again? Would you continue the night? How do you even react? Why? What would lead someone to mid-kiss? It's beyond me. Now, at number 2 is not being interested. Some people simply don't get when someone isn't interested in them. Their narcissistic brains can't fathom how someone else wouldn't want them. Or sometimes they're just naive and really like you and are holding out hope, which is kind of cute. When I was on Tinder and someone was laying it on too strong and I wasn't interested, I would also ghost them, or at least be like, hey, look, we're looking for different things. Goodbye. It's such a huge thing on Tinder, but this story from 26-year-old Tash sums it up pretty well. She shared that on her first Tinder date, she was way too polite. Firstly, the dude had lied about his height and was actually 2 inches shorter than her, but they got on just fine, so she was like, it's okay, it's fine. She stayed on the date to be polite, but he took politeness for her undying love and said they should be in a relationship straight away. She laughed it off, and an hour later he said they should get married and have kids. He ended up taking Tash home, and after 2 days of texting her non-stop and her barely responding, she finally built up the to tell him she wasn't interested. Cause you don't want to hurt the person, it's such a sensitive subject, like no one's out here trying to hurt the other person unless of course you're a player or a boy. The next day he showed up to her house for a cinema date, clearly not understanding or believing she wasn't interested. This cutie actually responded saying he wouldn't give up on their love and that he would fight for her. After just one Tinder date. Is that not so cute? Like, yes, it's very delusional, but like, what a little bean, And finally, at number 1 is the meal. This one comes from Redditor LTeenso, who said this was her friend's story. Now, her friend's favorite waitress, I didn't even know people had favorite waitresses. Either way, her friend's favorite waitress, who she dubbed Delia, suddenly stopped working at the restaurant for a few weeks and no one was told why. When she came back to work, the friend asked her where she'd been and she was like, they didn't tell you? Apparently, a month prior, Delia had matched with this cute guy on Tinder and they even FaceTimed before meeting just to make sure it was legit and he wasn't a creep. She got to his house and he went all out cooking for her. I'm talking meatballs, pies, anything, you name it, it was there. Delia ate it all happily. The date ended fine, but she started feeling super sick shortly after. As soon as she got home, she started throwing up uncontrollably, and then that turned to her throwing up blood. She called the police, who told her to go to the ER and that they'd meet her there. This I find kind of sus, because if you're throwing up blood, why would you call the police before calling an ambulance? You know what I mean? Just a bit, something's not making sense. Either way, she was sick in the ER for 2 days, and when she was finally able to talk, the police asked her everywhere she'd been, with who, when, and what she had eaten. She mentioned she works at the restaurant, but the police had already checked there. She then remembered the Tinder days and told them his name and address, confused. She asked what the problem was, and the police replied that she had consumed human flesh. By the time the police got to his place, he was nowhere to be found, and turns out it was an Airbnb that he'd rented out on a stolen credit card, and the number he had was from a burner phone. This is actually a completely true story, and the man is still active somewhere in LA, so if you're in LA and you're on Tinder, please beware of this man. The reason Delia was throwing up blood is because she was eating embalmed human flesh. God knows where this guy got that from, but I don't want to find out. Starting us off at number 10 is No DP Dave. I mean, you can interchange any name with Dave, but I just like the alliteration of No DP Dave. Thank you. pat on the back if I do say so myself. Anyway, this elusive Tinder user has no display picture and their entire bio is explaining why that is. It'll be about privacy, the kind of job that they have, them being uncomfortable, or agreeing to Snapchat you their face, or that they'll send pictures to anyone who is genuinely interested. Like, firstly, how's anyone gonna match with you if we don't know what you look like on an app that relies on looks before anything else? Like, make it make sense to me, Dave. I want to give you the benefit of the doubt, but Tinder isn't a blind dating app, my man. You gotta give me something. These profiles annoy me the most. I don't even know why. Like, just stop. Put at least one selfie, dude. Even if it's a mirror selfie, even if it's ugly, just something. If there's guys on Tinder putting pictures of them holding a fish, you can put a selfie. I'm just saying. You know? Coming in at number 9 is the scam artist. I can't even count on all the digits on my body the amount of scam artist profiles there are on Tinder. And I don't mean scam artists as in they're not a real profile. I mean scam artists like they're not on Tinder to date, they're on Tinder to gain clout and followers. These people will literally have all their socials in their bio and it'll always be accompanied with something like, oh, I don't apply on here much, DM me on Instagram or add me on Snapchat. You know for a fact these people, and honestly, hate to say it, but these girls, because it mostly is just girls, are never gonna respond or talk to you. They just want the followers, and it's like, dude, really? Like, what kind of rock bottom have you hit that you're trying to get your socials popping from dating apps? Stop it, B. You're embarrassing yourself, and more importantly, you're embarrassing me. Secondhand embarrassment. At number 8, we have the deleter. I feel like this one has happened to every single friend of mine that's used the app, including myself. I'd see if you cry every time. Now, you'll match with someone and they'll start the conversation, and it's not some corny joke with the person trying to be all relatable and funny. It's just a solid question or something about your bio and, you know, just something witty. Your heart is fluttering. You guys start talking and the conversation is incredible. It's like they're your soulmate. You're bouncing off each other. They're saying all the right things. You're like, wow, I'm actually for sure gonna go on a date with this person. You spend the whole day talking and flirting and you go to bed happy. You wake up the next day and see all your Tinder notifications, none of which are from Dreamboat. Let's just call this person Dreamboat, shall we? You go on the app to find the match gone, meaning they either unmatched you or they deleted the app, and it's most likely the latter. Why would they delete the app? Were they already talking to someone for ages before you and liked them more? Were they sick of the app? Do they not feel the electricity just brewing between you guys the day before? You've just been hit with the deleter, my friend, and it is not a nice feeling. Filling at number 7 slot is the premature clinger. Now, being clingy is perfectly fine. I'm a moderately clingy girlfriend. I like being in contact with my partner. I like seeing them. No, you don't want to be a stage 10 clinger, but clingy is fine and it's welcome. But that is only when it is earned. If you're in a relationship, it's fine. If you've been seeing each other unofficially for a while, it is fine. But what's not fine is being that premature clinger on Tinder. Those people who just get super clingy super quick and are triple texting you during your first or second conversation just because you haven't replied for a while. Like, you haven't earned the right to be that clingy with me yet. We barely know each other. You don't know me like that. And 26-year-old Tara shared her story of a premature clinger, and I think it is perfect. After talking to a guy on Tinder for a few days, things were going aight, but then he blew it when he got his friends to track down her Snapchat, add her, and then ask her why she wasn't responding to his friend. Mind you, it had only been 2 hours since she texted him last. The dude then got mad and accused her of sleeping with other guys. The duo had only been talking for 2 days. Like, it's been 2 hours, you're not in a relationship, you haven't even met. Baby, what is you doing? Stop. Now, at number 6 is the interview. Some people you match with are genuinely such sweethearts, and you can tell they're trying so hard to make the conversation work and just impress you, but it just ain't it, chief. You'll be joking around and asking them questions to get to know them, and it's not like their answers are bad, but it's like they're in an interview and they're so eager to get their job that they're on their absolute best behavior. Every answer is so mechanic, like, oh yes, I have many interests, and then they go and list 10 productive hobbies, like helping out the impoverished. Like, it's like, that's great, but dude, I'm not here to hire you, just be real with me. I mean, I am here to hire you as a potential boyfriend and you did not get the job, but that's besides the point. Coming in at number 5 is the thief. When you are on Tinder just looking for that hookup, you'll get it very easily. This story comes from Reddit user Schmallery Renee, who said her Tinder match came over for a booty call that night and 'twas great. No complaints. The next day she had to wake the guy up at 12 because she had work and he had to leave. Her room was absolutely spotless, but as he was getting ready he couldn't find one of his socks. He flipped the room upside down looking for it and eventually accused her of stealing his one sock. The girl was like, why the hell would I want one of your crusty socks, you weirdo? He was pissed and went outside to find out his car had been towed and he didn't have his wallet. How convenient. So the user had to pay for him and he went on his way, and the girl full well knew she was never seeing this guy again. 30 minutes into her shift, he texts her saying he lost the stylus for his phone and accused her of stealing that as well. That is the biggest worry with hookups from Tinder, is that you really don't know the person that well. They could easily just steal your shit at night and leave the next day and you'd be none the wiser. They just unmatch you, probably block you, you'd never see them again, and they'd probably steal your Jordans. Your Air Jordans. This hasn't happened to me, but you know, if someone were to steal something, I just assume they'd steal the Air Jordans, which is very sad. At number 4 is the long-term relationship. I totally get why Tinder gets such a bad rep for producing long-term relationships. Like if you're looking for one, Bumble is definitely the way to go. But contrary to popular belief, Tinder has led to a lot of long-term relationships and even marriages. Like 2 of my friends met on Tinder and they've been dating for 3 or 4 years now. They moved in together 2 years ago, like they're killing it. I also don't like the taboo of people thinking meeting your partner on a dating app is a bad thing. Like, so what if your love story didn't start when your eyes met in the middle of the dance floor? Michael super liking you is also a digital age love story. Come on now. Come on now. Cut yourself some slack. Filling at number 3 slot is the pushy one. I hope you guys don't ever have to encounter the pusher if you haven't already, but oh my god, are they the worst kind of people you can meet on the app. This Tinder match will be nice and conversational on the app, but sexually pushy when you meet up with them. They will ignore all hints of you trying to deflect or literally moving away from them or swatting their hands away. It is gross, it's unwanted, and it makes it so clear that they're only after one thing. Prime example comes from Redditor Sin and Tonic, great name by the way, who said the guy was nice enough, but an hour into their date she got a call saying her granddad had died. Like a gentleman, the guy walked her home and made her some tea, but then tried to seduce her and push her into sleeping with him. Like, my guy, read the room, her grandpa just died, she is crying. In what world would she want to be all up on you right now? No world. Not even an alternate one, not even a parallel one. You're dumb. Now at number 2 is Tinder Social, and I don't know if people remember this, I don't think I was on the app when this was a thing, but it was 100% a thing, it was not an urban legend. Back in 2016, the app launched the Tinder Social feature, which meant you could create a group and plan an outing or something. When a user opts into 2 groups, the groups merge together and the chats expire at noon the day after the plan. The feature was meant to give Tinder a new look and move it away from its hookup reputation, but it kinda did the opposite. People did use Tinder Social for group gatherings, just not the kind where you go take advantage of happy hour, more like the orgy sort of social group gathering. And the feature was very quickly deleted after that, and it was probably for the best. And finally, at number 1 is the catfish. I am sorry this was number 1, I feel like it's such a cop-out. I really didn't want it to be number 1, but it had to be considering how much of a reality and danger it actually is. Now people, you need to investigate the people you are talking to and thinking of meeting. I know it seems psycho, but it is not, it's for your safety. It is so easy to lie online about virtually everything about yourself. One of my friends actually matched with this guy on Tinder, and safe to say he was extremely hot. They were talking and he started sending videos of him at the gym and stuff, and things that looked like they were taken right then and there, you know, live. So she was like, okay, he has to be real. They start WhatsApping and turns out he wasn't looking for anything serious, which was fine because neither was she. He sends her some nudes, as does she, but turns out the guy wasn't who he said he was. I started getting suspicious because I was like, there honestly is no way someone that good looking is on Tinder. Like there's no way this person is single or even real. We did some digging and found out this random creep had been posing as some Italian model from Instagram and had saved videos from the model's profile and was sending it to her. Meanwhile, my friend was tricked into sending her pictures, and now there's some random creep out there who has them. Guys, online safety is so important, it is everything. Please use these apps wisely, it is not a joke. Starting us off at number 10 is Taken Away. Loving a demon must be tough, but having that ripped away from you may be even worse. This one was shared by Reddit user Smiley_attack, who said he downloaded Tinder a few months before his mum died. He matched with this gorgeous girl called Nora, but no one messaged first, so that kind of just died down. Flash forward to John visiting his mum at the graveyard. He heard someone say hello behind him, and he turned around to find out it was Nora visiting one of her relatives. Even prettier in person, it was love at first sight for him. Time went on and he kept running into her wherever he went, which made John seem like she was almost searching for him. On their third date, she finally told him that she wasn't normal. She was a spirit, a demon if you will. When she died, she was given a horrible task to do which would free her spirit, but she never ended up doing it. Hence, she'd been trapped on Earth until she met John and felt like she actually belonged for once. Damn, that is bloody cute, I'm not gonna lie to you. And at first, John was like, great joke, Nora, but she was not laughing. She went on to say, they're coming for me, they're gonna take me one day, John. A few months later, John woke up in the middle of the night to Nora screaming. He looked over to see huge faceless figures with sharp teeth tearing into her. He kept trying to save her, but the creatures kept pinning him back. When the growling and shrieking stopped, Nora was gone and there was nothing. No love, no life, no Nora. Guys, can you just see how lovely I ended that? No love, no life, no Nora. It's a rule of 3. Dramatic. Coming in at number 9, we have Thomas Part 1. Honestly, I read this and my heart was fluttering a bit because it gave me very dark fantasy YA fiction vibes. Shared by Redditor XXHeldKXX, aka Casey, was on Tinder and matched with a guy called Thomas, 25 years old, tattoos, black hair, and just completely bad boy vibes. His bio read, new to human customs, freshly escaped hell, and definitely has daddy issues, which is very witty and funny, to be honest. I would swipe right on him. Either way, a few hours later, Thomas messages Casey asking to get coffee. Despite her having work the next day and it being super late for a coffee, she agreed. He told her to meet him at West 49th and Sylvester, where she was 100% sure there was no coffee place. She got there and he came strolling towards her, somehow even better looking in real life. He took her to this alley coffee shop that seemed more like a club than a bistro, but whatever, it's still happening and it's still lit, isn't it? The date was amazing other than the fact he kept referring to downstairs, and Katie assumed it was just his trauma talking. By 1 AM she was like, damn, I really need to get home, and he offered to walk her because it was late and dangerous. Katie also thought, okay, well if he was gonna murder me he would have done it by now, so I guess, you know, I'm safe. I disagree with that, by the way. He could just murder you on the way home, but we carry on. At number 8 we have Thomas Part 2. When they got to her apartment finally, Thomas sat on the steps and said, you humans are so interesting, you know that? And she was like, you're saying it like you're not a human, and he was like, I'm not even close. I'm a demon, a spawn of Satan. Obviously, I stated I escaped hell in my bio. I also told you about how I escaped home to come up here and hang out with you mortals. Come on now, Katie, he basically told you it flat out how it is. You're just dumb. Still thinking it was a joke, Katie looked at him, and this time he looked different. His teeth were too white and his teeth were all extremely sharp. His eyes either had no pupils or were nothing but pupils. Now at first she was terrified because she just assumed he had drugged her, but he went on to say, something from my realm has a hold on your soul and you seem to be completely oblivious to it. I'm actually here to save you. You see, the demon that's after you pissed me off in hell, and I've decided to come here to piss him off in a whole new realm. So this hot demon came from hell to protect this girl from another demon who's after her. This is like the fanfiction of my dreams. Except it's not me, it's Katie, and my dreams are ruined. I'm sad. Filling at number 7 slot is 29 Male Lawyer. Now this one was shared by Crystal Dubois on Medium. She was waiting for her Tinder date, and when he came through the door he seemed way better looking than what his Tinder profile showcased. And that rarely happens, you guys. People are usually uglier than their photos or the same level of good looking. You're never blessed with someone being better looking in real life, but clearly Crystal was. She should have realized then that something was very wrong. As he sat down he smiled, which he hadn't done in any of his photos, and that's when Crystal realized his canines were noticeably pointy. Not like Taylor Lautner level pointy, like Damon Salvatore when he's about to eat you pointy. His eyes were red-eyed on his profile, but in real life his eyes were hazel with a tinge of red. And Crystal was like, I know this is gonna sound crazy, which eyes are tinged with red, but I know what I saw. The guy was almost too good looking to be real, something that's common when it comes to demons or the supernatural manifesting as humans. He told her his job was necromancy, which essentially means magic and communicating with the dead. The whole date was going well, except he never made eye contact with her. His eyes just went from her throat to her wrist over and over again. And I don't want to assume with this dude, but I feel like his profile shouldn't have said 29 Male Lawyer, it should have said 850 Demon Flesh Eater. You know what I'm saying? Now at number 6 is the fiance. This one comes from polonium poisoning, whose fiance is a demon. He knows this because he apparently summoned her and then matched with her on Tinder. He went on to say he was never attractive or good with girls, so he decided to summon one specifically for himself. Now apparently you can date demons, just make sure they know it's a relationship and not a symbiotic host-parasite relationship. You know what I mean? Now he went on to say there are rules when dating a demon. Number 1, don't complain about the smell of blood in their breath unless you want them to ask you if you'd like your nose ripped off. Number 2, don't ask her to get a job. She's a demon from hell. That's not happening. Number 3, demons don't like being in super crowded places, so make sure you don't take them there on dates, otherwise people are gonna get eaten and that's on you, my friend. Number 4, don't ever look at another woman. She will know whether she's with you or not, and you will feel her wrath with a burning sensation in your genitalia. Number 5, do not offer to pet sit for any of your friends. Demons love tender meat like cats and dogs, and they ain't gonna survive the night. I gotta tell you. And finally, at number 6, never ask for a break. Demons are hyper emotional and this will rub them the wrong way and they may just kill you out of just sadness, when really they didn't mean it, but now they can't take it back because you're dead. You be dead. Coming in at number 5 is the Demon Goddess. This one is a screenshot of this girl's Tinder profile, and I know it could be a joke, and it most likely is, but damn girl, chill. Age 22, sexual preference, straight, job, Demon Goddess. Alright, I'ma head out. Now her picture is her on a gloomy beach sitting on a rotten log. She's wearing this black short low cut dress and she has black hair, so the whole e-girl vibe is definitely there. Now for her bio it says, I like to wear masks and chase shirtless men through the house while holding a butcher knife. My dates are so bewitched by my sense of romance that they run up the stairs screaming instead of out the front door to safety. I mean to pick up dinner. I mean, as a dude, would this girl intrigue me? Like 100% at first from her bio I'd be like, okay, she's trying a bit too hard to be unique and eye-catching. Am I gonna swipe right regardless? Yes. And number 4 is the paranormal date. This one's from Redditor Wid89, who shared that he went on a Tinder date with a super private woman. She wouldn't tell him her last name, where she worked, nothing at all, but the date was going well, so I mean, there's that. At the end of it, she confessed that she had to tell him something. Turns out she had just moved into a new apartment alone and felt like some sort of sinister presence lived there too. She had been having horrible nightmares and seeing weird things and asked if he would sleep over to keep her company. He agreed, which I find sus because this is their first date. Why would you sleep over at this woman's house? Obviously he was expecting to get laid, but still, that's bloody creepy. Either way, he agreed and they got home, and as soon as he got there, he could tell something was very off about the apartment. They got into bed, there was no sex, there was just sleep. A while later, the user was still awake and he heard someone walking down the hallway outside the room. Scared, he went to investigate but found nothing. He went downstairs and back up, and as he was going back to the bedroom, he saw this short black humanoid figure in the corner of the hallway. He bolted it back to his date's bedroom, but she wasn't in bed. He called out to her but got no response, which made him hella confused. He had just searched the whole apartment and had not run into her, so where the hell could she have been? The bed was too low, so she wasn't under it. The window was locked, so she hadn't gone through it. He ended up just grabbing all his stuff and leaving the apartment in nothing but his underwear. The next day, he found that her Tinder profile had been deleted and she never responded to any of his texts again, nor did he see her again. Filling at number 3 slot is the one that follows. Now I know you're hoping I'm out here just talking about a demon that follows you on all your socials, but it's not that shallow. Shared by Reddit user 27 Moose, this story involves her dating this guy from Tinder who she initially thought was just, emotionally damaged. I mean, aren't we all a bit damaged? Anyway, the guy tells her that since he was a kid, he's known this demon has been following him. He's drawn vivid detailed pictures of it and it seems like he's telling the truth. The girl herself was a spiritual person and she told him to be positive and ignore it, but I mean, dude, he just told you this demon's been following him since childhood and you think being positive is gonna make it go away? Do you think he hasn't thought of that already, you idiot? Anyway, I digress. One day while they were sleeping, she woke up in the middle of the night with this feeling that they weren't alone. She looked into the master bathroom and saw this giant black shape move across the mirror as the door closed by itself. Over the next few months, the boy became more irritable, more malicious, like this demon was overtaking him. One night he was begging to go to the sauna and when they got in, he closed the lights. The girl could feel and see the dark shape sitting across from her, and then she decided she's gonna dump this guy. The next morning, she turned the house upside down looking for her keys before saying, I'm leaving, I need the keys, please can I have them? Her boyfriend was in front of her and she heard the keys being placed on the table behind her. Who the hell did that? The demon. Now at number 2 is Lena Part 1. This one was shared by Redditor Ascentrella, who said he matched with this girl on Tinder, but he already knew her since she was in his graphic design program in uni. Lena was that gorgeous, smart girl who apparently never had a boyfriend, yet you couldn't comprehend how the girl was ever single. The user never had the courage to ask her out until both of them graduated, and even then it was Lena who asked to go for coffee, not the user. The two became official very soon after that, and their relationship was going super well. The first time she slept at his, though, something weird happened. He woke up in the middle of the night to it being freezing in his room, like he could see his breath in the air cold. And it was Arizona, in the summer, it was an oven outside, so how the hell was it cold inside? It happened again the next time she slept over, but this time she was sleepwalking. The user tried to carry her back to bed, but Lena was like solid concrete bolted to the floor. Now keep in mind this girl is half his size and he can throw her around easily, but apparently in his sleep, she's heavier than anything he can carry. The final straw occurred a month later when she slept over again and the user woke up to find her not in bed. She's by the end of the bed banging her head against the wall. The user turned the light on to see her bang her head really hard and now she's wheezing, but it's not a wheeze, it's like this low raspy growl. And when she let it out, it managed to send the user flying back. He didn't know what to do, so he ran to the bathroom to get water to throw it on her. And finally, at number 1 is Lena part 2. The water woke her up from whatever possession was going on, and she was freaked, asking what the hell is going on, why the hell it was freezing, and that her head was killing her. She kept pushing him away as he tried to explain and left the house slamming the door in his face. He obviously followed her out. Demon or not, she's still the girl of his dreams, but she dumped his. The next day he called her mum, who said, "I heard, honey, I'm sorry, I should have said something earlier," meaning she knew Lena was possessed. Did the mum cause it? She apologized and hung up, and that was that. He decided to give her a few days of space to figure out her thoughts, and a week later he called her, but her number wasn't in service. He called her parents, their numbers weren't in service either. He then went to her house to find it empty with a for sale sign in the front. It's been 6 years now and she never got back to him.